Hey, welcome back, guys. P Valley's latest installment focused on some heavy themes, including history, teen pregnancy, and the afterlife. The narrative centered on Ernestine, Clifford's lovable grandmother who's facing her death, and Terica, the daughter of Mercedes who's taking on new life. I'm here to break it all down, brick by brick. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things P Valley. Here we go. The episode begins with Miss Ernestine cycling through the eras of Pynk's past. Just as regal as ever, she blesses the stage with what Clifford described as heaven and hell all at once through her vocal prowess. It's really something to see, the various groups of Black people enjoying themselves throughout the ages. One of them just happens to be Clifford's late mother, Beulah, with the young Uncle Clifford himself, who she calls by that exact name. This small tidbit lent credence to Clifford's later conversation with Lil Murder regarding his own origin. Cliff was trying to relate to him then that he's always been the entity that stood before him, much to his surprise. The song that Miss Ernestine belts is also significant, as it suggests a journey to the past through Remembrance and Lamentations. This is confirmed once the stage depicts her present-day form. The people disappear, and she is approached by a heavenly Beulah, who assures her mother that, quote, it's time. However, Ernestine delays her dearly departed daughter for at least another day. It's an interesting way to display her internal battle with her pending mortality. And at this point, it's a daily struggle due to her unknown future on account of the virus. One thing is for certain, Miss Ernestine's spirit is just as strong as her vernacular has been throughout the series thus far. Ernestine's encounter with her daughter was the first nod to the entire theme of the episode, the past versus the present. Clifford and Autumn would expound on that theme with their long overdue conversation regarding the Pynk's fate. Clifford pleads with her to reconsider selling the Pynk in the name of his ancestors, the historical perspective. Autumn refutes his love for the past with her vision for what's to come, the futuristic perspective. Ironically enough, her reasoning is drenched in the past itself, as she reveals her dead daughter as fuel for her desires, a daughter that Clifford directly reminds her is, in fact, gone. But perhaps most notably, the past versus the present rears its head throughout Mercedes and Terica's interactions. Terica is facing the potential of new life at the same age her mother once did, and Mercedes is forced to be the mother she never had while experiencing the same thing long ago, caring, compassionate, and real. These attributes evaded her own mother, Patrice Woodbine, whose ghost haunts this episode as much as Beulah does. While the latter is remembered fondly, the former is recalled grotesquely. A young Mercedes is baptized, pun intended, by the wrath of her overly religious and equally hypocritical mother in public over her impromptu revelation of being sexually active. Sadie feels the spirit of her mother throughout the entire ordeal with Terica and mightily attempts to rewrite her own history in dealing with the fiasco. Though falling short at times, that smack in the car being Exhibit A. Patrice versus Sadie's is yet again another example of the past versus present dynamic, as the sins of the mother have come back to reclaim the daughter yet again, and Mercedes has a chance to change the evils of history by simply being there for her daughter in the present day. A critical highlight of the episode arrives once the mother-daughter duo make it to the clinic in Jackson, as they're confronted by an uncompromising group of pro-life advocates. With the climate of our current-day political scene taken into account, the Supreme Court's controversial overturning of Roe v. Wade, undoing all federal abortion protections, this depiction couldn't be more relevant. The sea of outraged protesters represent Terica's desire for her immediate life, as she initially wants to have the baby. Thus, the sole recipient of judgment heading into the clinic is Mercedes. This is driven home further once Sadie has a vision of the monster behind the guilt she feels surrounding Terica's condition, her own mother, Patrice Woodbine, once again. Terica's apprehensions against losing her baby are assuaged once they finally receive an informed consultation, the very thing her mother wanted in the first place. The narrative switches back to a runaway Ernestine who's being led by the spirit to the lake, by the looks of it, the same lake where Murder lost teeth. The matriarch stresses her desire to make it to the water, to be reunited with her daughter once more. This was arguably the deepest scene in the entire episode, next to the abortion clinic scene. The power of water and salvation are heavy throughout spiritual circles. Whenever we want to invoke an ancestor's presence, a libation is poured, i.e. water. Sam Cooke, who we initially heard in 201 providing the musical backdrop to Mayor Ruffin's funeral, once sang a song entitled Jesus Gave Me Water, which means by extension, Jesus gave me life. Water is connected to the spirit and holds a spiritual memory, and it's how we commune with those long transitioned away from us. Once apprehended by Cliff in murder, the latter pours water onto the head of Ernestine, quenching her spirit's desire to be as close to the departed as she possibly can without dying herself. Murder's own spiritual burden seemed to be confronted here as well, the water being the replenisher of all he's lost, a subtle baptism of sorts. Once Mercedes and Terica have one final showdown regarding the former's shortcomings as a mother, the two reconcile. Then, Mercedes allows Terica to make her own decision for the future, and she chooses Jackson as a result of what she's learned and her newfound relationship with the woman she's always wanted, her mother. Throughout this season, we've seen Terica reach out to her mother profusely, but to no avail. Her getting pregnant, in many ways, was a cry out for help, an avenue to get closer to her mother through shared experience. By choosing Jackson, she subverted the curses within her own family bloodline. Thus, death bred life in this instance. A poetic message as ever by the writers. A few lingering thoughts before we end today's video. In addition to the past versus present theme in the episode, there was also a guardian angel dynamic on display. Beulah and Lil Murda to Ernestine, Clifford to Lil Murda, Autumn to Keyshawn, and Mercedes to Terica. Each troubled soul is guided into a new life with the help of their earthly, and in Ernestine's case, heavenly companion. Clifford and Murda share an interesting dynamic in this episode. Their interactions fall in line with the theme of past versus present. Cliff's past is thinly revisited, and Murda's queries into further elaboration mirrors our own. Just what brought Clifford to be the Clifford that we know now? Through the main character's response, we get bits and pieces of that complicated answer. The reality of passing, i.e., fitting into society's understanding of normal romantic relationships, is explored in their exchange as well. With Big T, Murda could walk an easy path to stardom while closeting the love for his old comrade. However, no such dynamic could exist with Uncle Clifford, and it's because of this that he'll likely be hurt again by Murda, this time more drastically than the last. Murda is on the rise at the worst possible time, and he'll have to choose yet again, his muse or his music. I'm sure we'll know the answer by season's end. And finally, Autumn has been presented as Keyshawn's saving grace from Derek. It's been a long road for our beloved Mississippi, and hopefully, through their shared experience with abusive partners, Autumn will serve as Key's final liberator from what Tamia once called the stranger in the house. And that'll do it for this one. What were your thoughts on Jackson? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. Quick side note, I have to give special acknowledgement to one of my subscribers, Cabby, whose requests are a large reason why y'all still getting these P Valley exposés. So much respect to her and all of you for your continued support. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are fans of P Valley, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P Magic of Rudy P Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.